Hello and welcome to Justice Losers, the most unqualified podcast exploring irrelevant questions about entertainment, namely movies, TVs, and comics. I'm your host, Preston, joined as always by my delightful co-host,
Matt.
Matt, what should people do?
Like, subscribe, and check out our Instagram highlights.
Man, I'm so bad at doing Instagram highlights. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna keep trying. Check out our Instagram highlights. There are highlights.
That's at Just Us Losers Pod.
Yes. Anything else you've watched?
Mortal Kombat,
Oh, you did?
the movie.
Yeah, I
on
did. I
HBO
watched
Max.
it too.
Oh, yeah.
I watched it in the theater.
Oh,
Yeah.
show off.
Uh-huh.
Look at you.
What do you think? What'd you think?
I didn't like it very much.
You didn't like it?
No.
Oh, why?
It was kind of a dour, ugly little movie. I didn't hate it. The action was pretty good for the most part. There's a lot of cool brutalities.
What was your expectations going into it? What were your expectations? Plurals.
I mean, I figured from the trailers the effects and the action were going to be the selling point, but I didn't think that they were going to phone in the rest of the movie as hard as they did. Because they really phoned in the rest of the movie.
Yeah. I went into it have you seen the other Mortal Kombat movie?
No,
It's bad.
I'm aware.
And I was going into it expecting that.
Okay.
Ignoring the trailers, I was expecting that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was very pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
For what a movie about Mortal Kombat can be, it was a good movie to me. Like, it's
Fair enough.
You're not going to get anything more than this. It's
No.
about a bunch of people with powers in a tournament that just fight it out.
Yep.
With little to no substance of a story.
Right.
But like, I mean, the main character was was believable, was allowed to have a family, not believable, was passable. That's what I was looking for. Was allowed to have a family. Like, he wasn't driven by trauma.
Right. Well, he was, just not his.
Right. Kano's character was so much fun.
That's true. I love Kano.
You don't have surround sound, but there's the scene, the first scene where you see him and like they're talking and stuff like that, and he's just tied up and being a dickhead. They make a comment about one of the characters not having the mark, and it's just like, I wasn't chosen, and they panned it all the way to the back of him just going wah wah. And so it's in the you're like watching the movie, and then you just hear from behind you wah wah, and it's the funniest shit ever. I actually cackled in the theater at that. And just his just isms throughout were just so fun.
Yeah.
Like he brought light to it. Yeah, you're not wrong. It was a dour movie.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, it wasn't a lighthearted movie. It was,
No.
Yeah, it was that. And so,
But it wasn't even like serious and self-righteous. It was just kind of unpleasant.
yeah, they do gore at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do gore about a third of the way or 2/3 of the way through. And not really much in between.
Not a whole lot.
And I forgot it was a gory movie until a person was basically sawed in half with a table saw.
That was beautiful.
Oh my god! It was just watching the movie, and my brain had kind of like cooled off.
Yep.
And then that happened. I'm like, oh,
Right.
this is Mortal Kombat.
Right. I did love that moment.
Yeah, that was
a good all right. Okay, I'm awake again.
I think it's just it's what the movies are gonna be, and
Yeah.
I got what I went to watch, which was just cool action. Like, I turned my brain off for this one. I didn't critical it.
Yeah.
Well, except for even beyond me turning off my critical brain, the exposition was just so forced in the first half of the movie.
Which it's going to have to be with this premise as absurd as the
When you've got
premise is.
11 games worth of lore that feed into what Mortal Kombat is, and you want to make it that,
Yep.
they could have chopped out a ton of it.
Yeah.
They made it's like, this is the 10th tournament, and so you have to have so much exposition on what all that did.
Yeah.
No, I was fine with it. I'll probably watch it again if I'm drunk.
Sure.
It feels like an an extinction type of movie. Extraction. I got it. Extraction, where it's just
Okay.
it's just fun action. The story's, but
All right.
I guess Extraction had a little bit better of a story.
Yeah, I'd put this a cut below Extraction because Extraction, there's characters with motivations and something resembling personalities.
Right.
Kano
It's a 5.
notwithstanding.
It's a 5.5 for me. Like,
Okay.
between a 5 and a 6.
It's like a flat 4 for me.
All right. I watched the first season of Invincible.
Oh yeah, I remember you were going to do that.
It's really good.
I'm going to add it to my watch list.
It is like, okay, so I was talking to one of my coworkers about this, and he liked the way I phrased it because I compared it to The Boys. Because you can kind of look at both of those as, you know, you have Marvel and you have DC are the superhero things.
Right.
Anything done, any superhero stuff done outside of that, people will consider like a commentary or like a of the superhero genre.
Right. That's an interesting discussion in and of itself, that Marvel and DC have so monopolized the market that anything else can only come in as a parody or a commentary.
Yeah. I think that's something we should talk about at some point.
Let's add it to the list.
The way I described the difference between The Boys and Invincible, The Boys is a commentary on the superhero genre. Invincible is a superhero show done different.
Okay.
Does that kind of make sense?
That makes some sense.
It's just like, yeah, it's The Boys is what if superheroes were real, and then Invincible is what if superheroes, but interesting different thing. It's its own superhero. It's not a commentary on the genre. It's just it's a superhero's world with less restrictions, fewer restrictions. And I like it a lot more than The Boys because it's so much fun. The characters are all lovable. Boy, you could have, I saw someone talk about this. J.K. Simmons is just the perfect man for talking down at people. You could have a world conflict and you could have him go up to like whoever's like the world leaders and just say, stop being and then just like list profanities, and then they will just be like, sorry, sir. Like, just it's just so fantastic. It's so much fun. It's a stacked cast. You got J.K. Simmons, Stephen Yeun. You've got Mark Hamill as a minor role. How do you do Mark Hamill as a minor role?
Holy crap! Yeah, whoa.
He is down.
So I'm scrolling down this the cast list, just main page of IMDb, and these are just the names that I recognize.
Right.
Stephen Yeun, Sandra Oh, J.K. Simmons, Zazie Beetz, Walton Goggins, Zachary Quinto, Mark Hamill, Ross Marquand, Mahershala Ali, John Hamm, Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
I'm sure it goes on.
Yeah. And I've seen a picture. My coworker showed me a picture of someone put a tab in the comic. So it's based on a comic by the same creator as Walking Dead, and who is also now the CEO of Image. These were done at the exact same time. They both started. He started writing them both in 2009. Invincible ended in 2018, and Walking Dead ended in 2019. Like, he was writing them simultaneously.
Okay.
I don't think he was writing Walking Dead by the time it got to the end. Anyway, he showed me a picture of where we were in the comic. So envision a comic book that is about 1.5 to 2.5 inches thick. Envision 3 of those. That's the story of Invincible. It is a lot of comic.
Wow.
We are about 3/4 of an inch in. There can be 10 seasons of this.
Okay.
But here's the thing that I think I've discovered. So I've watched Walking Dead through season 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there, after Negan got slashed. And now I've watched this one. Both Robert Kirkman. And so here's what I'm going to say that I think is going to happen. I think that Robert Kirkman has a lot more control over Invincible than he did. I think he stepped away after season 2 of Walking Dead, and that's when it really started deviating heavily from the comics.
Okay.
Until they got to Negan, and then there's just like shot for shot remakes of Negan because that's just a good story arc in the comics. So I'm told.
Probably. I read a couple volumes and
yeah.
then decided it wasn't worth it to invest in the remaining 29.
So what I think is going to happen is Kirkman's going to have a lot more control over this. and he's going to decide what is worth putting, what translates to a show. And because you do have a little bit more capability when it comes to animated show versus live action show.
Right.
But I think that there's going to be a lot of trimming out the fat. There's my coworker said I think his friend has read the whole comics and knows that there's a few filler story arcs that they can probably just take out entirely.
Sure.
But I think we're going to get a solid 7 seasons out of this.
Okay.
That's my estimate. And I am going to say that I think that they're all going to be great.
That's ambitious.
It's such a solid show.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much room to grow, especially since it's written by a guy who knows how to write comics and can tell really good stories. There's a reason he's in charge of a comic company now.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where this goes. I binged it all in 2 afternoons, and it's catches you off guard in some moments. The characters, just all of their motivations make sense for what they are, and you get it keeps you guessing, but still kind of plant seeds to think. It's a good story.
I think I need to check it out.
You got to check it out. It's so good. And there's no point where it's not good. It's consistently good through the first episode is good, and then it hooks you, and the second episode is good, and it keeps you, and it keeps its momentum.
Mm-hmm. Sustained excellence.
Mm-hmm.
Like it. We got a Stranger Things teaser.
Yes,
a new
we did.
one.
We're gonna learn about 11.
We're gonna get some backstory.
Finally,
we're gonna get updates on kids 1 through 10, and also potentially 12 through 13? Some unspecified number.
I feel like 13 is the number that's gonna happen.
I'm pretty sure one of those door numbers was 20. I think those door numbers started at 20,
okay,
and they're counted backwards.
All right,
but I don't know. Yeah, which makes a lot of sense because the first 3 seasons have all kind of been, hey, scary monster from the upside down. 11's going to use her powers. Hey, scary monster from the upside down. 11's going to use her powers even more.
What was season 3 about?
Scary monster from the upside down, and then 11 uses her powers the most of all.
Was it the portal one?
Yeah, the Russians are trying to build a portal under the mall, and the monster is accumulating human flesh. Oh,
because it's the flash forward one.
Yeah.
A little
bit older. This one's going to be a bigger time jump because they're really aging right now.
Yeah, what are they, 18 now?
Something like that, yeah.
God, they're old.
Yeah, well, Lucas was 18 in season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it makes sense for them to go kind of a different route, get a little more backstory, explore more of the secretive government program, which originally that was kind of the direction they were going with season 1 is okay, there's this scary other place, but really the government program is the thing.
But then everyone was like, the upside down! And they were like, all right, I guess we'll do more of this.
Yeah.
So, well, that's a issue, unless they're going to de-age Millie.
Well, I mean, they can cast a younger actress and do it from when she's significantly younger.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that. You could do when she was... Because she got out when they were... How old was she?
11.
Was she? Roughly, yeah. And so you don't have a whole lot of room to... Basically, you got to make it 5 or younger, because...
Yeah.
If 5 years prior is going to be... She's going to look a lot like herself.
Well, there was a flashback in season 2 when we see a very young 11, like a 3-year-old 11.
Yeah.
So we reuse that actress now that she's 7.
But she probably looks... she looks different from Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah, no, I mean... You have to accept a certain level of that. And
don't wanna.
Content. In 10 years, we'll be able to do flawless de-aging.
We've seen really young Robert Downey Jr., and I will never accept recasting for a younger character.
You're spoiled.
I am. I have expectations.
I think it'll look weird if they try to de-age her still at this point.
I think what will probably happen is we get a Mandalorian last episode, spoil really quick. Something like that, with Luke, where they have a character that looks or an actor that looks kind of like him, and then CGI kind of morph his face a little bit.
Yeah.
Because that looked fine. If they spent more time and more budget on that, because it was just one shot, so they were just like, man, we're just going to throw it together. And if you look at the actual character, or actual actor, he looks a little like young Mark Hamill. But
could have just got Sebastian Stan and slapped a wig on him and it would have been fine.
Sebastian Stan looks about as close to Mark Hamill as this other actor did.
Okay.
And so it's literally just morphing their face a little bit to make it look closer. I feel like that's probably what they could do. Stranger Things is Netflix's strongest property.
Yeah. At this
so
point.
I feel like they would put a lot of money into that, into something. Because, I mean, it's just, or any show that they would put an amount of money necessary to do that would be Stranger Things. So.
Yeah. No, I could see it.
That's my rant on de-aging Millie Bobby Brown. Or
Thank
I
you.
guess
Thank you for your contribution.
Millie Bobby Browning another actor.
Hi everyone, Matt here. Hope you've been enjoying listening to what we've been up to in the news. If you want to get more than just the brief highlights of this, we do an audio-only version of the podcast that really gets into all the nooks and crannies of our opinions. That's going to be wherever fine podcasts are purveyed, be that SoundCloud or iTunes or Spotify or Podbean or iHeartRadio. So check it out there. Thanks for watching this far, and we hope you keep listening.